So exaggeration is a really extreme problem for a lot of people. It makes it difficult for any words to have any meaning at all, and that's no exaggeration. It is a big, big problem in terms of choice of vocabulary. Um, People exaggerate about the people who live around me. So when I use the vocabulary that is relevant to my circumstances, for example, talking about hobgoblins. Now, there's a lot of people that say, oh, she believes in hobgoblins. So I'm just going to embrace that and say, yes, yes, dragons are hobgoblins. Guru Rinpoche is a hobgoblin. The Buddhas are not, Buddhas are something different from hobgoblins, but it's not the best use of a hobgoblin. You know, hobgoblins make offerings to the Buddhas. Dakinis, Nagas, all of that stuff, all of that is hobgoblins. So, I have, the mower has just showed up. I didn't get mowed last week because I put a sock with holes on it over a skeleton figurine on my porch. And people said it was voodoo. It was that's exaggeration. It is a shrine to Kitten Man, the black man in Colorado who wore a ski mask, and then the police recorded him saying, "I don't hate you. Please don't hurt me like that. Oh, come on, don't hit me so bad." And then they beat him to death while he's saying things like that. And then it comes out that he was like this just kind of airhead sort of guy that plays violin for kittens at the pound on his lunch breaks. And they just beat him to death because he had a skin condition and he was just arguing with them too long about it was a sub-zero night and he didn't want to expose his face to the cold. And I think of him as the lamp on a lampfish, and that something behind him is really, really scary, and that, you know, little kitten man is out there, and so maybe, I don't know, you want to call it voodoo, I don't care. But you want to beat up kitten man, so he's got a protector. The Wakantanka, is he a hobgoblin? Because we have people who say they define what is truth, which is an exaggeration, and straight up lie, because define is a word that has meaning. And define as a word with meaning means that, well, what does definition mean? So we define all of that as hobgoblin. It only means one thing here. How can something mean only one thing? What is that one thing? Everything all goes back to the one, and yet we have to, you know, so that's ascending and descending, and all of these, everything you see around you has an answer in the books behind me. These are books that my guru chose among all the different books that people wanted to do. He talked about what order they'd be published in. And the whole time, he was an MI6 agent. He was using his persona as an MI6 agent, and he was using these books as part of his cover. Does that mean the books are meaningless? Does that mean the books are lies? Does that mean that his choice of books were the choice of a narc, a snitch, the fuzz? You know, is that what that means? You know, when I went to go see him under the Palden Sharab Rinpoche legend, Kenshin Palden Sharab Rinpoche legend, I was continually quoting him back to himself. I had taken excerpts from these books and incorporated them into my life. And so he would say something and I would say something back, and then we'd argue about the meaning of it, which was really silly because he's the one who said it. So then he decided he had a personal investment in sorting out my errors. So would he have done that as the fuzz? Or did he do that as the llama? We all talk about the things we do in the places that count towards the people who count, and the things we do in the places that don't count towards the people who don't count. We talk about who we really are, which is an exaggeration. And so these are topics that these books are not meant to turn you into a monk. These books are meant to help you understand that monks can support business people. Monks can support householders. These books are not intended to detract from the Dharma. Even the Bon, everything like that, it's not intended to detract from that. It's intended to reach out to those people and make them understand that there are things that the Buddha will protect you from, there's things that he will not. We are not all at the maturity level that we're going to give up all of our attachments. We are not all at the opportunity to do so. If we could give up our attachments, but our attachments are stuck to us like burrs. Which is another thing that an analogy that we use in my land, that burrs get stuck to you. Burrs are the basis of Velcro, which has made it all the way around the world. So when you talk about how uneducated, how stupid, how backwards, how superstitious my people are going to be, the belief in hobgoblins. We never called them hobgoblins back in the day. We called them Wakantanka, we called them the Manitou, we called them Dakinis, we called them Dakas, we called them Rishis, we called them Jinn. We called them all different kinds of things. But there are people out there that they control what is real, they control what is meaningful, they control what is written down, they control who is sane and insane, just by changing definitions. They don't change behavior of people. Now, eventually, definitions alter the way people treat you, and that does make changes in a person. In different contexts, there are different methods that people use to modify people's behavior. Some of these methods include, arranging for their rape, killing the rapist, and then using the smell of that rapist in other people to cause them to attack random people. They really do that. And they're not witches because they control the definition. Do you understand that? That we exaggerate to say that these words have meaning. They indicate something in the moment. There's an impermanence in their relevance. There's an impermanence in their meanings. They develop in a time. They dissolve in a time. They elicit one set of responses in one time. Everybody wants to be a witch now. In the past, if you said anything about witches, everybody would make different mudras and go burn some herbs and... And now if you do that, they say you are a witch. And I've always had that question. What is the difference between that kind of stuff and witchcraft? What's the difference between voodoo, hoodoo, witchcraft, Dzogchen, and, a belief in aliens? And earlier today I was thinking about science and the science of psychology, and believing that everything has a reasonable explanation. Why is that reasonable explanation not that this world developed in a substrate of something, and some energy caused it to crystallize?